Hey, it's Jordan, back again with another video. I've been getting a lot of questions about my Appalachian Trail through hike and my fundraiser for Alzheimer's. So in this video, I'll answer all of your questions. So I reached out to my Facebook and Instagram friends to see what questions they have about my upcoming Appalachian Trail through hike and my fundraiser to cure Alzheimer's. First, I want to thank my mom for asking the majority of the questions. Thank you very much, Mom. Of course you would. All right, so here we go. Question number 1. How do you protect yourself from animals like bears and snakes? So this is probably one of the biggest questions through hikers get, and one of the biggest questions I've gotten for sure. And I think generally it's one of the biggest concerns people have about being in the woods. When I hiked the Pinhoti Trail in January, I had some raccoons try to pay me a visit, but luckily they were pretty easy to scare away. Now, it's pretty rare to run into a bear or a snake on the trail, and there aren't many threats from animals other than that. But, of course, it would certainly suck to get injured by an animal of any sort while I'm out trying to hike 2,190 miles. So the biggest thing you can do if you run into another animal is to not provoke it. They'll always be more scared of you, even bears. I've never run into a bear, but the protocol is to slowly back away and speak to it so it can identify your human voice. The bear will extremely likely walk the other way, but if it comes toward me, all I can do is stand my ground,
Act big and bold like I always am.
and hope that the bear decides not to mess with Jordan Douglas Connor. I've heard stories of hungry bears walking into campsites in search of food, so that's why it's suggested that hikers hang a bear bag when they get to camp every night. So I'll hang my food high up into a tree, and ideally nothing will be able to reach it. Question number 2. Are the trails open yet? This is one of my biggest concerns. So as I film this video, many trails are still closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Some parks along the AT are opening or working on plans to open, and others are still unknown. Nothing's been announced yet. For example, the Great Smoky Mountains, thankfully, is opening up this coming Saturday, May 9th. And Baxter State Park in Maine, unfortunately, will be closed until an estimated July 1st, but hopefully that order will change. Maybe it'll be rescinded soon. But either way, I can work my hike around that since Baxter State Park in Maine is where the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail is. Also still closed are many restaurants, hotels, and other conveniences that I will need while I'm hiking. So not only will I need these trails to open, but I'll need some of those resources as well. So I'm keeping a close eye on the trails, the towns, the hotels, and other lodging, restaurants, and just services in the towns I will need. For more information on COVID-19 and how I'm planning around that, you can see my video on COVID-19. It'll be linked in the description below. There's also a list of closures on the Appalachian Trail Conservancy website at appalachiantrail.org. Question number 3, and of course this one's from my mother. Can I join you for a couple days? Mom, we'll talk about it later. But if you bring something good to eat, like Chick-fil-A or Bojangles, there's a higher chance. Question number 4. Will you take a break for your graduation ceremony? Yeah, so because of COVID-19, my college graduation in May was postponed until September. I was looking forward to walking across the stage to receive the most expensive piece of paper I'll ever buy, and listening to the commencement speaker, who's a huge role model of mine. So this was going to be on May 16th, and I'm hoping to start the Appalachian Trail on May 20th, just 4 days later. Whether I take a break to go to my graduation or not depends mainly on where I am on the trail and how much longer I'll have until I complete it. And those two factors depend on when I can start based on COVID-19 and trails opening up. So that's yet to be determined, but overall, I hope I can make it back to my soon-to-be alma mater for graduation in September. My cousin is also getting married in October, and more than likely I'll have the trail completed by then no matter what. So I'll be there unless my hike is delayed longer than I imagine it could be. Question number 5. So I've had a lot of questions about ticks, and honestly, this is one of the bigger concerns, even more than bears and snakes. Ticks can cause Lyme disease, which I'd be okay with not contracting. One of my favorite quotes is, "Check yourself before you wreck yourself." And the biggest thing I can do is inspect my body for ticks every single day. Apparently, it takes about 36 hours of a tick being attached before it can give you Lyme disease. So as long as I'm checking within 12 to 24-hour intervals, I should be good to go. Another thing a lot of thru-hikers do to increase their safety from ticks is treat their outer clothing with permethrin. So that'll kill those things real quick, but even then, it'll be more important to check every day because Lyme would really kill my hike. And question number 6. Will you text your GPS location every day like you did on your last hike? So when I hiked the Pinhoti Trail in January, I'd hike a few miles in the morning and then send a text with my coordinates and mileage marker to my parents and my beautiful girlfriend, Cecilia. I'd send another one while I ate lunch, and a third when I got to camp for the night. And it also had a link to Google Maps where it would pinpoint exactly where I was. So I use an app called Guthook, which is an excellent resource for long distance hikers. It lets you download maps of different trails around the US and abroad. And you can see which landmarks are around you. You can see your mileage and so much more. So it doesn't use cell service for most features, but I did need it to send each text to my parents and my girlfriend. But luckily I had service all but 2 or 3 days and nights on the Pinhoti Trail. So past AT thru hikers report that there's Verizon cell service along approximately 75% of the trail. But with the AT being much longer than the Pinhoti and me being outdoors for a lot longer, there will be more time and more opportunities for me to be without cell service. So the Guthook app won't always work to let me send my family and my location since I'll need that cell service. So that's why I purchased a GPS system called the Garmin InReach Mini. It's a two-way satellite communicator that will let me send messages to my family. It also has an SOS function that will call for help if I'm injured and in an area with no cell service. So hopefully I'll never need it for an emergency, but it'll help my family have peace of mind and know that I'm safe. And question number 7. What could happen that would make you decide it is time to end your hike before you finish? Unfortunately, lots of things could happen. But the two biggest reasons people get off the trail is injury or running out of money. So the average cost of hiking the Appalachian Trail is said to be $1,000 per month. So I'm planning a 4-month hike, and I have $6,000 set aside for things like food and other consumable supplies along the trail, restaurant shops in towns, lodging at hostels and or hotels, shuttles or taxis, replacement gear if something breaks or if I need to replace something, and whatever else I'll need on the trail. I'll also have funds for if I need to get back home quickly for an emergency. As far as injury, the best thing I can do is continue listening to my body. Obviously, a 4-month, 2,190-mile hike will push my body to its limits. But I don't want to try to be a hero by pushing through a potential injury that will only keep getting worse and worse and eventually take me off the trail. So at any moment, a sudden injury could take me off the trail, either for a short recovery or an extended period of time. A trip and fall could break a bone, sprain an ankle. You never know what could happen. There are also hikers who just get burnt out and tired of the trail, so they go back home. I don't think this will be me, but again, you never know. You always hope for no injury. I hope I won't run out of money. I've saved for a long time for this. But any number of things could get me off the trail, but I'm optimistic. Question number 8. Will you still go if the trails don't open in May? What if they don't open by July or September? How long are you willing to wait before you can start? So in short, I don't want to and I won't go on the trail unless the Appalachian Trail Conservancy gives everyone the green light. If others can't attempt their AT thru hikes this year, I don't want to be selfish and try to complete it against the Appalachian Trail Conservancy's wishes. Now, if only a couple small sections of it are closed, but the rest is open, I'll go ahead and complete what I can, and then I'll loop back and do what I missed as soon as those sections are open. Someone I know actually had to skip the whole 80-mile section of the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee and North Carolina in 2016 due to the wildfires going on. So he just went back to finish that section in 2019. So my biggest goal is to complete as much of the trail as I possibly can this year, even if that means only hiking half of it, or 75% of it, even a quarter of it. And I'll be pretty sad if I'm not able to complete the whole AT this year, but I'll go off of what I can do. Ideally, I'll start my hike on May 20th, go northbound from Georgia, and get to Maine by the end of September. If I can't start until mid-June, I'll likely do a flip-flop hike. So I'll start in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, hike north to Maine, travel back to Harper's Ferry, and then hike south to Georgia. If I can't start until July 1st, maybe even later, I'll need to start in Maine, go southbound to Georgia. That way I won't be in Maine during the cold winter temperatures, and I'll be in Georgia where it's a good bit warmer year-round. But really, I'm just keeping an eye on the trail updates and playing it year by year. We hopefully will find out soon exactly what my Appalachian Trail through hike will look like in 2020. Question number 9. Have you ever been caught in a thunderstorm during a hike, and how did you protect yourself? So I've yet to be caught in a huge storm, luckily. When I do, it'd certainly be convenient if I were near a trail shelter so I can hunker down there, certainly not on a ridge somewhere exposed. So hopefully I can either find a trail shelter or some low ground with some trees to shield myself. Now I'm expecting to run into at least a couple multi-day downpours on the Appalachian Trail. It seems to always happen. So I'll be willing to hike in that for a little while, but after a certain point, I have a good feeling I'm going to want to head into a town, dry off all my stuff, and stay in a hotel nice and warm and dry for the night. And finally, question number 10. Are you going to miss your girlfriend? Yes. I will miss my girlfriend so very, very, very much.
That's it.
Yes. So those are the 10 biggest questions I've had about my Appalachian Trail through hike. If you have a question about my Appalachian Trail through hike, feel free to drop it in the comments below, or on my Facebook account. You can either post it on my wall or DM me, Jordan's Hike for Alzheimer's. I also have an Instagram. You can ask me questions there. And if I get enough other questions, I might film another video to answer all those questions. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't seen my other videos, there are some that'll be linked on the screen. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Visit pledgeit.org/hike4ALZ to help cure Alzheimer's.